Right, so today I wanted to do a screen recording in which I am going to explain how to use the basic tools of Blogger. Starting by that, we're gonna go to blogger.com, and then it comes up like this because I'm now already logged in. So yeah, you can see here page views, posts, followers, even the comments awaiting moderation, so which comments there are still there. And yeah, then I can always read through them one by one, which is very useful, and then I can publish them after I've worked my way through them. Besides that, I wanted to discuss the layout, so explaining how that specific thing works so that you can learn how to set your blog up if you ever want to use Blogger. So first of all, the header. Header. I think is one of the most important things because that's obviously the first thing you see once you go into your blog. It's this bit. So that's your header. So that's what everyone is able to see. And then you can also write a short message under it saying, for example, like I did, "Hi, my name is Sophie, and this is my blog, which is dedicated to my AS level in media studies." So yeah, moving on, for this year, we, for example, had to create these other links to, for example, I had to link it to Jonathan's blog, Bronwyn's blog, because I worked together with them in a group, and then I also decided to link in my YouTube channel so that everyone would be able to see that if they went to my blog. In order to create this, it's a cross column, that's what you call it. So you go in, for example, edit, and here you have Bronwyn's blog. So then you can just add whichever, you can put them in the order you want them to be. So because I wanted my blog to be first, that's the order I put them in, or you can put them down. So it's up to you. It's really wherever you want to put it. Now I'm just gonna put this back. But yeah, so that's the way it works. Yeah. So you can add as many cross columns as you want to, but I would keep it short so that it still looks good. For example, like here I have 4, so that's quite good. Something else that's really useful when you set up your blog is basically that you have link lists such as these, where you have a quick title of what it is. For example, here media theory, where I then put all the theories that I've learned this year, although there's one missing now, but I'm gonna add that later. Vodcast with all my vodcasts, podcasts with all my podcasts, and so on. So I really divided it up. I like to create all of these linked lists because it just really helped me to keep an overview of my blog and see where everything is. So yeah, I just like to organize my blog this way. To create a linked list, you go into here. You can then say add a gadget. For example, today I actually do want to create a linked list, which is called tutorials. So you scroll down. As you can see, there are so many other options, but a linked list is obviously called here. So you click it, then it comes up like this. So you put in the title of your linked list, which today is going to be tutorials. Then you put in the number of items you want to show in the list. This is very important. For example, if you put in 10, but you later on have 11 items down here, you're not going to be able to see all of them in your linked list. So it's always important to have the same amount of number up here so that you can see all of your posts in your linked list. So now I'm just going to put 10 as a starting bit. And then you can just take any, for example, URL site. So you go in here. For example, if I now wanted to create it, I don't know, with a podcast in it, let's say with a podcast, I click up here, Command C, take my hyperlink, I go in here, I put it in, and then I say new site name, so for example, podcast 2. Say add link, and save. So once that's done, it comes up here. So obviously you're going to want to pull it down to wherever you think it should be. For me, I'm going to put it a bit further down so that I have it there. Okay. Besides that, we were, for example, told that we should have About Me and total page views and blog archive up here. It's also the most practical thing to have because then you really do have a great overview of it. You can see who is running this blog. You can see how many page views there are. You have the blog archive. I mean, if the blog archive was right at the bottom, it wouldn't make any sense because then you couldn't find anything. And then one thing that I decided to add, which I don't think that anyone else from our class added, is search to this blog. So for example, if I type in audience, it should come up with, it comes up with all the posts I've done on audience. So every single one of them, and I can click on the one whichever I want to. The way it comes up is by having these labels. As you can see, I have audience feedback. So whenever I type in audience, it comes up with everything that has to do with audience, target audience feedback, audience by itself, secondary audience, like everything. So to create these labels, it's very basic. You have a labels gadget. So yeah, it's just all labels, and I mean that's rather than having a linked list. That's when you go into add a gadget, and you go further down, and you say labels. So again, it's very simple, and then you can choose whether you want to have them as a list, or as a cloud. So yeah, so that it changes. Just remember that every single time you have created a linked list or like added a gadget in general, then you just click save arrangements. It's very important because otherwise you just did everything for nothing. And yeah, I mean, there's so many other things you can play around with, but these are the main things that we've used. And for example, the search this blog I did by going into add a gadget again. Went down. I think it's search box. So yeah, that's what it's called. So I really like to have that because I also thought that it gave a great overview for the people who come to visit my blog. So if they're actually looking for something specific, like a specific term or anything, they can really just go in and search it. So every single time you go in there, you have to click every single one, 1, 2, 3, and so on, so that it really comes up in the search this blog. But yeah, what else besides that? That's actually pretty much what we have used. Then to actually add the total page views, it's a blog stats gadget. So yeah, you again add a gadget, blog stats already added. So that can only be added one time because obviously you're not gonna have 10 linked lists with the total page views. But yeah, so then you have all of this, which is an overview. You have settings, so words, everything. I mean, you talk about your title. I mean, if you ever want to change the title of your blog, that's here. For example, earlier this year, I had my title where it was called Sophie's Blog. So I went in here and called it Sophie's Pizza Production. So whatever you do, it's never final. I mean, you can always go in and change it. This description: hi, my name is Sophie and this is my blog, which is dedicated to my AS level in media studies, is the one which appears up here. So that's how you create that. It's by going into basics, clicking up here, clicking edit, and it comes up. Save changes, and you got it. If you ever want to change your blog address, you can do that as well. Just remember to save it because it's very important, because otherwise it can also get confusing. I, for example, changed mine once and then it was a bit hard because I didn't save it, and then I ended up with 2 different hyperlinks to my blog, so that wasn't quite good, but yeah, I got out of it again. But yeah, you can also add authors to your blog. I mean, you're not the only one who's supposed to be the admin. You can do so that others can add to your blog. But for example, in a group work of 3, we didn't do it because, I mean, we each had our own blog, so we each had to record what we did throughout the year. So I mean, that doesn't make much sense. But if you, for example, work with some friends and you guys would just like to, I don't know, create a blog on nail polish, for example, and then you could make all of you to admins of the blog, so everyone could add something. Yeah, I mean, template is very easy to change as well. Live on blog, it comes up like here. Now the picture isn't there yet. It will be. Okay, there we go. So that's how it looks right now. I mean, there you can very quickly customize it. I mean, there's so many different templates that you can choose, but you need to make sure every single time that you do choose it, that you choose one so you can also see the color of your linked list, because I've had quite a few problems with this throughout the year, so I've had to change the color of my linked list sometimes. But yeah, I mean, it is rather helpful to, I mean, you can choose your template, like I said, so it's, I mean, it's a bit more fun to play around with, and you don't always look at the same thing, so you can just change it whenever you want to. So yeah, I mean, you can change your background. I, for example, had this one. You can also like choose another one. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Blogger one that they suggest. It can also be upload image. So if you do that, you choose file and you can choose one from your own computers. Oops. So yeah, I mean, there's so many things you can do. You can also change the width of your sidebar. I mean, make it bigger, smaller. So yeah, it's also the maximum minimum size of your blog. And every single time you've done that, you say apply to blog, and it will, and then it comes up the way it's supposed to be. Template applied. There we go. So yeah, in general, these are the basic things. I mean, I don't want to go into more detail. These are also the things we have worked with throughout the year to give you an overview of what I've used. But I mean, there's still so many more things, and I mean, next year when I'm gonna take media as a subject, I do think I'm gonna go more into detail with Blogger, because it really is a useful tool to create your own blog, not just for school, but also for fun outside of school. So I think I'm definitely going to continue with this because it has offered me a wide range of ideas, and I mean, it's really just fun to work with this. But yeah, okay. But thank you very much for watching the screen recording. I hope it was helpful, and yeah, that's the end of it.